The group of men that you are seeing here is known as the White Army, a diverse political collection of people resisting the tyranny of the Bolsheviks. They fought in one of the bloodiest wars in all of human history, the Russian Civil War. This war would claim the lives of some estimated over 13 million people. Although initially losing the war, another opportunity would present itself. Operation Barbarossa would commence on January 22nd, 1941. In the invasion of the Soviet Union, more than 2 million Soviets would defect to fight for or to collaborate with the Germans. Although one of the main reasons for the collaboration was not to starve to death. However, many would choose for political reasons to side with the Germans. They wanted to liberate themselves from the Soviets. They would later form the Russian Liberation Army. Tragically, after the war, many of them would be deported back to the Soviet Union. Many of them felt that they simply just had no choice, and the best chance of freedom or survival was to side with them. The point that I will be trying to make throughout this video is that many Democrats simply view that they do not have much choice.
Radicals and reactionaries gained power as people searched for leadership and answers. As frustration turned to fear and anger, people took to the streets. Communists led hunger marches in many big cities and attracted thousands. The week before Americans went to the polls in 32, 20,000 unemployed filled the streets of Chicago. Sometimes there were confrontations with police, like in Brooklyn in 1933. Soon after taking office, Roosevelt made it clear that he would be president of all the people, including those.
It is true that the toes of some people are being stepped on and are going to be stepped on. But these toes belong to the comparative few who seek to retain or to gain position or riches or both by some shortcut that is harmful to the greater good. The program of the past year.
Now I want you to imagine that you're an indebted and struggling college student, or you're a struggling family that can't afford health care. Many people in the city live in very claustrophobic and dissatisfying materialist conditions. Many Democrat strongholds have high poverty and high crime rates. And with massive corporate abuse, no matter how bad the postmodernist movement gets, they will continue to find themselves voting for the Democratic Party. No matter what you do or say, or how much we make fun of the SJW problem, the Democrats are better at presenting their fears and anxieties and channeling their anger.
So the basic bargain at the heart of our economy has frayed. In fact, this trend towards growing inequality is not unique to America's market economy. Across the developed world, inequality has increased. Some of you may have seen just last week, the Pope himself spoke about this at eloquent length. How can it be, he wrote, that it's not a news item when an elderly homeless person dies of exposure, but it is news when the stock market loses 2 points? But this, and it challenges the very essence of who we are as a people. I believe this is the defining challenge of our time. The idea that so many children are born into poverty in the wealthiest nation on earth is heartbreaking enough. But the idea that a child may never be able to escape that poverty because she lacks a decent education or health care, or a community that views her future as their own, that should offend all of us. And it should compel us to action. We are a better country than this.
I want you to think for a moment just how complicated your reality is. And a good way to demonstrate this is through a simple game of chess.
Each player moved their pieces 5 times each. With just those 10 moves alone, there already could have been 69,352,859,712,417 possible games.
That's quite big.
Excluding the near size of our universe alone, going to have to consider the fact that human beings are one of the most complex entities in our entire universe. And I feel that we don't have the right to simplify us as nothing more than simplistic ideologues. Simply showing an indoctrinated ideologue won't change anything. The corporate media has a lot more resources and influential members than we do, and we can't use these political weirdos and indoctrinated people as the main stick of our argument. To give a for instance, somebody who was heavily punished for just possessing a little bit of marijuana and wants amnesty for that won't give a damn.
My life to destroying these gangs. She goes and applies to become a police officer, and for years she's this hardline cop, right? Takes real pleasure in busting people. But Lee started to notice a few things. First thing was, when you're a cop and you arrest a rapist, there are fewer rapes in your town the next week, right? When you are a cop and you bust a pedophile, fewer children get sexually abused. But she noticed when you bust a dealer, there's no fewer dealers. There's someone on the corner the next day for sure, right? It didn't seem to be having any effect. In fact, what she discovered, what she began to learn about this, was that there was something even worse, which was, for a funny sort of reason, that she realised that she was actually creating these, empowering these gangs. So the best way to explain this is, if you imagine, obviously when you ban drugs, they don't disappear, right? They're transferred from the people who used to control them, licensed legal businesses, to armed criminal gangs, right? And these armed criminal gangs operate in a different way to legal businesses. So if you imagine, if you and me decided we want to go and steal now a bottle of vodka, right? We go into a local liquor store and that store catches us. They'll call the cops will come and take us away. That liquor store doesn't need to be violent, it doesn't need to be intimidating. They've got the power of the law to uphold their property rights. Okay, now imagine we wanted to steal a bag of Coke, right? If we go to the guy near here, I'm sure there is someone who sells Coke, and he catches us, he can't call the cops, obviously. Cops would arrest him. He has to fight us. Now, if you're a dealer, you don't want to be having a fight every day, right? You want to establish a reputation for being so frightening that no one will dare to fuck with you, right? So you establish your place in that neighborhood through aggression, through violence, and you maintain it through aggression and violence, right? Legal businesses compete on cost and quality of product.
Another thing that we need to stop doing is thinking that they are lazy. The Soviet Union was able to take on the West for 50 years. That's not due to a lack of work ethic. We need to never underestimate our opponent. Former socialist and historian Tick did a fantastic job explaining why he was a socialist, and I'll leave a link in the description to the full video.
They lack willpower. Yeah, some of them might do, but again, so this is the thing as well. Is these people are unemployed. They've all got Xboxes and they all play Minecraft. That's just the thing that came to my head. So Minecraft, one of the biggest games of all time, and what do you do in it? You work. It's called mine and craft, right? Yes, you kill enemies and stuff, but it's Minecraft. You dig. You get a what they call pickaxe, and you dig through the rock and you make cobblestone, and then you put it out in a furnace and make stone, and then you build castles out of it or whatever. That's work. That is actual work. When I do my videos, which I'm doing now, and I read the books behind me and the other one's over there and the other one's over there and there's too many of them, when I do that, I get to the end of the day, I'm like I'm exhausted. And there was a time where I was like, you know what I need to do is play some computer games to relax. And I chose, one of the games I chose was Minecraft, and I started doing it, and I quickly realised that I was working again. I need to relax, so I'm going to go play a game where I go and work. I was like, yeah, let's not do this. So, but these people, they haven't got the willpower, but they have got the willpower. But there's no point working in the real world and so they may as well escape into a non-real world. Drugs, alcohol, gaming, or whatever. And I'm not saying gaming's a bad thing. I play games. It's not a bad thing. I'm just saying they don't lack the willpower, right? Another one is want to rule over other.
One more thing I think that we should consider is that a lot of them are not social justice warriors. The majority of the population do not care about social justice, or may have not even heard of it. In lack of better words, the majority of them are normal people. And we can't assume that the grievances spontaneously generated from nothing. They are real metaphysical reasons to why they vote for the left. Most communists were poor peasant farmers that had nothing to lose, and did live under some sort of oppressive system for centuries. There is real grievances towards neoconservatism and the war in the Middle East. Most people by now do believe that the war was a failure, and we wasted countless lives and money to ultimately achieve little to nothing.
Mr. Bush, when are you going to apologize for the million Iraqis that are dead because you lied? You lied about weapons of mass destruction. You lied about connections to 9/11. You lied about Iraq being a threat. You sent me to Iraq. You sent me to Iraq. You killed people. You lied. You lied about WNT. A million Iraqis are dead because you lied. My friends are dead because you lied. You need to apologize.
The left have had decades to entrench themselves in most educational institutions and most entertainment industries. Because of the internet, we do stand a chance of fighting back against their propaganda and fighting fake news. But if we are not careful, and if we do not treat them as human beings with legitimate grievances, then in all likelihood, we'll find ourselves as Soviet refugees, desperately trying to fight an oppressive regime.